Spiderman Homecoming, which turned out to be a very apt title. Going in, I thought this title was pretty meh, but in the context of the movie, it makes sense, and can't imagine it being called anything else. It's a very fun movie. Michael Keaton almost steals the show. He is wonderful. His suit is great and even feels like it's built in a way that makes sense. It feels very heavy and mechanical. He plays kind of an anti-Tony Stark, and it works. Now, he has a psycho grin that makes me wonder why he hasn't been the bad guy in more movies. Yet, he really isn't portrayed as a psycho. If anything, he's trying to blend in, and he's largely a reactionary bad guy. You could make an argument here that the conflict and destruction and death in this movie only happened as a result of actions taken by Spidey, and that Spidey instigated the worst of everything that happened here. Works very well, and yet is not complicated. This is not a difficult movie to follow. So Sony has the Spider-Man rights and is able to coexist with Marvel. I wonder if plans have changed, but here it really seems like they're setting up Spider-Man to replace Iron Man for the next series of movies, and I suppose it's possible. This Spider-Man is very likable. However, a lot of that likableness comes from his wide-eyed, oh, wow demeanor. It'll be interesting if they manage to progress that into a wiser, more resigned, perhaps even cynical character in 10 years. Assuming civilization lasts that long. Place your bets now. Now, the stereography, the 3D in this movie is the best I've ever seen. There are background shots on a clear night that show a slight environment dust haze against the glow of streetlights. The street light is set back, but the dust in the air looks properly suspended, giving the air itself a footprint on the stereo stage. In other words, you cannot really talk about the background in terms of layers because the air itself is used to glue it all together. It doesn't even look like an effect, it just looks real. One shot where you really appreciate 3D is on the Washington Monument. He crawls up the side of it to rescue people at the top. Interestingly, the 3D works best inside the monument, looking down the elevator shaft. Now, the outside is fun, but like I noticed in the movie The Walk, at extreme height, looking down, depth starts to lose its frame of reference, so you don't really get a feel for it. It at best feels like you're looking at a model or something, whereas down in the elevator shaft, there's information showing the progression of space, so it feels more dangerous. You can gauge the danger. Now, as I mentioned, the 3D is fantastic, and I noticed in the credits that LiDAR is mentioned. It's the first time I've noticed that technology mentioned in a credit sequence. And at first I wondered if it was being used to enhance the 3D conversion, like they do on Apple phones. But no. I read a little bit up on it, and it turns out it was used here to create a near-perfect model of the ferry for that ferry shot out at the water, which is still neat, that they can essentially photograph an entire set, repurpose it as CGI. In looking that up, I also discovered that they based the look of the web on polar bear fur, which I guess is hollow and reflects light in a certain way. But ultimately, it's not the effects that makes this movie. It's a movie ultimately about friendship, and that is really what makes this movie special and a fun watch.